You try to stop fapping, you try to hit the gym, yet you're motivated one day, you're doing so good, and then the next day, once the motivation is not there, you quit, and you're back to your old habits. This is the sad story of many people nowadays. New Year's comes around, they set a new goal, and they're doing great, they're motivated, it's all going amazing, they're changing their bad habits. However, once it gets hard, once it gets tough and there's no motivation, they quit. They try to start a business, or they try to hit the gym more often, they try to change the diet. They're doing great, however, once they lose the motivation and they don't feel like doing it, they quit. The way to change a habit is to progressively unload from it. You might be thinking, well, what the hell does this mean? Well, the biggest mistake that most people make, the biggest issue, is that they try and take away a big habit that they've been doing for years all at once. They try and deprive themselves from that all at once. Don't you think that something that you've been doing for so many years, every single day, unconsciously, every single day, it's gonna take some time to get it away from you, to unbind from it? Of course it will. You can't simply, it's not as easy as just waking up one day and then from one day to the other, it's gone. It's fixed. Of course not. You have to work hard to get rid of all these bad habits that you had. All the bad decisions, the bad times in which you chose the bad, you made the wrong decision. And you chose to stick with the bad habit. So it's gonna take time to unbind from that. However, this time is gonna pass by no matter what. So you must do it. So do not go all out, especially in the beginning, because consistency is key. It is much better to hit the gym 5 times a week at the beginning when you're first starting out, relatively hard, like hitting a relatively hard session 5 times a week, in which you're not extremely tired, rather than hitting it super extremely tense just once a week and then never hitting it again because you were too tired the next day. Because this is what too many people do. They'll be super motivated one day, and then they'll hit the gym, they'll put in all their energy, and then the next day they're extremely sore and there's no motivation. So they quit. They're exhausted and they overwhelm themselves way too early. So they quit very easily. Not only this, but they don't have any discipline. They only work whenever motivation is there. And that is not the way to go about it. So if you're trying to change one of these bad habits, let's say you're trying to quit social media, Netflix, or even porn, you must unload from it. Don't completely cut it out, because this could harm you as well. Rather than focusing on a streak, on having the most amount of days ever since you've watched Netflix or scrolled on social media or fapped, rather than focusing on a streak, focus on reducing and unloading the amount of times, or the amount of time that you spend watching this. If you spend 3 hours on average per day on social media, reduce that to 2 hours, then to 1 hour, then to 30 minutes, to the point in which it's not even in your head anymore. Same thing with fapping. If you fap 30 days a month, reduce that to 29, and then 25, and then 20, and so on. This is how you get shit done. And not only this, but do not rely on motivation. Learn to be disciplined. Learn to put in the hard work, especially when you do not feel like it. Learn to make the hard decision. If you have free time, you have the decision to hit the gym or scroll on social media, do the hard work. Yes, it might be easier to scroll on social media, however, if you put in the hard work. Yes, it might be hard in the moment, but afterwards you will feel so much more amazing. You will be giving your future self a much more amazing life. This is beautiful. Because this is discipline. This is how you get stuff done. Because you need discipline to stay consistent. Consistency is not there without discipline. Why? Because motivation is not always going to be there. A lot of people think that motivation is linked to success, but this is completely wrong. Motivation is not always going to be there. You're not always going to feel like doing something. You're not always going to feel like hitting the gym. However, you must hit it anyways. Because this is how you achieve goals. This is how you get to that position in which you want to. This is how you change that bad habit and replace it with a better one. Discipline. Putting in the hard work, especially when you do not feel like it. because you need consistency. Consistency, small steps every single day over the long run make a big impact in the end. Because this is where a lot of people go wrong. Motivation is not always going to be there. Successful people, ask anyone that's successful. They weren't motivated. They didn't even feel like doing what they did every single day. People don't feel like studying every single day. However, you must do it either way. People don't feel like hitting the gym every single day. Even people that are very passionate about what they do. Soccer players. Basketball players. Athletes. They don't want to hit the gym every single day. They might prefer to watch Netflix some days. However, they still have to do it. They still do it. Because that is how they get to the position in which they are at. And you must do the same. This is how a strong masculine man works. And how he achieves great things. It might be hard to take away all of these things that you've been indulging for the longest of times. That you might be super attached to. However, this is one last tip that I want to share with you. Always remember why you started and where you started. Remember the reason why you started. And realize that if you quit, you will be letting many people down. You will be letting yourself down. And you will be proving the doubters right and yourself wrong. Don't allow this to happen. And always, absolutely always visualize your success. Visualize the life that you could have if only you actually changed this habit and you were to delay gratification. Become a better man. You looked in the mirror and you built some muscle. You didn't use social media as much. You didn't fap ever. It's not even in your head anymore. And you breathe in, you look into the sunset, and your life is a million times better than it's ever been. Your diet is amazing. You're dating that girl you like. And life, it's great. And it is all because you decided to stick with the harder path. You decided to put in the hard work, especially when you did not feel like it, especially when you were tired. You decided to be like the 1% rather than like that 99%. Think about this and do it for your future self.